Hey guys, I start you off big and bright. It's Rosie and Jason, and this is the Spectral Sailor. And I'm on vacation, but the show must go on. I wasn't going to miss it. So we had a cancellation, and our guest that canceled. We got another guest last minute that was nice and willing to come on last minute. Thank God. And so we're going to introduce Cowboy Ben,
Hi.
Ben Monroe. And
Hello,
ask
everybody.
him about some stuff that he does and like what inspires him. Why does he do it? Like when did he start doing this stuff, or what's his background and liking horror stuff or whatever, and Halloween makeups and stuff like that. And Jason, I don't know if you have any questions because you probably didn't have time to write down any, since it was kind of like, hey, last minute we gotta find someone that's going to be on here. We don't have time to research what to ask them.
Yeah, I actually didn't get back from the Paracon until just a little bit ago, so I'm back from that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a lot of time to, like you said, jot some stuff down. But if you want to, man, you can just tell us about your background and kind of what you do.
Okay. I'm Cowboy Ben Monroe. I am the host of Bedtime Stories for the Undead on the Psychomanium 13 and Psycho Bunny Death Cult Network. Also the PBDC TV network. Basically, I tell classic horror stories, classic kid stories every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My counterpart is Cemetery Joe. He's the host of Cemetery Kids Fright Theater. On Friday nights, he's a horror movie host. One of my big inspirations was when I was growing up in the 80s in Indiana. We had a horror movie host by the name of Sammy Terry, and he had a show from 1962 to 1989, and he was part of the WTTV Channel 4 network. So every Friday night around 11 p.m., you could watch this guy pop out of a coffin, host two classic horror movies, and unlike other people like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, who made fun of the horror movies, this guy was creepy. He was really creepy and scary, and he respected the horror movies. He gave even the utmost B movies the utmost respect. And you just had to watch it like every Friday night. You never wanted to miss an episode. Then around 1989 is when all like the independent networks started getting bought out by cable TV. So a lot of the horror movie hosts, their shows were canceled. Elvira was canceled.
I love Elvira. I love her.
Everybody loves Elvira. But yeah, it's stuff like that we ended up missing in the 90s and early 2000s. And it's something like that I wanted to bring back. I wanted to do something that my kids would want to watch.
Right.
So that's why I came up with Cowboy Ben Monroe. He's a throwback to Cowboy Bob Glaze, who hosted Cowboy Bob's Corral on WTTV Channel 4 out of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So it just all came together.
Who was that? You said he was like a spinoff of who?
Cowboy Bob Glaze. He was actually the director and producer of the Sammy Terry Show from 1970 to 1989, but he had his own show during the day. And if you were a kid growing up in Indiana, you had to watch this in the 1980s.
Yeah. It sounds weird.
Around 1989, that's when it all stopped. So it was just something to bring back. I wanted to do something that my kids would want to watch, that other kids would want to watch, along with their parents.
Right.
See something that's lacking these days.
No, actually, I remember. I'm not sure if it's the same guy, but there used to be a guy that would wear like a cowboy shirt, like a tie, and he would host. I can't think of his name.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, Cowboy. I think his name is Joe Bob Riggs. He used to do that. Yeah, he's still around. He's on Shudder right now.
Okay.
Really?
I can remember seeing him do the same kind of thing what you're talking about, host the horror shows and stuff.
He used to be on TNT for years, but he's on the Shudder network. He hosts The Last Drive-In.
Okay.
He does a really good job.
Yeah.
So Has he been in it? He's been in it for a long time, that guy, right?
Yeah, Joe Bob Briggs, he's actually a movie critic. He's been around since the 1960s. He was one of the big advocates when they started to remodel Times Square in New York City. A lot of the drive-ins ended, but he was a big advocate for saving a lot of those.
Okay. But now, he was talking about what do you do wearing the makeup and stuff?
Yes. Don't give it to her. Sorry, someone
No,
is
I didn't catch that last part.
I said she mentioned it kind of earlier, but what do you do with the wearing the makeup, the characters, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, when you do this, like the Skeletor Reaper look.
So, Cemetery Joe, he's a ghoul. So he usually dons the skull paint every Friday night around 11 p.m. And it's usually a horror movie, a classic one. No slasher films because I know a lot of kids are probably watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he puts on his makeup like he's very careful with what he does, but he doesn't want to make it scary.
Yeah. Okay.
Not too scary for kids, anyways.
Yeah, not too scary.
So we're talking about you host the old show. You're talking about are you talking about like Frankenstein and Dracula, that kind of stuff?
Like old vampires were, what movie stuff like that. Even ghouls. I mean, he's hosted. He hosted The Ghoul. He's hosted Grave of the Vampire. A lot of classic B movies, some classic A movies. Some of them are public domain movies. But unfortunately, nowadays it seems like Facebook is really cracking down on public domain movies too, because it seems like a lot of the horror movie hosts are getting muted.
Yeah,
for
like permanently, or is it like just for a period of time?
No, it's the Facebook algorithms. They'll pick up on something in one of the old movies or something, and then they'll just mute that section of the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have to do our research to make sure what we show is public domain and isn't going to cause any problems.
Sorry, I was trying to share this out on my phone, and I'm having a problem. It's not coming up on my phone, so I can't share it out because I usually share it a whole bunch while we're starting the show and stuff, so that I can get it out there and everyone sees it.
Well, just tell our gang out there in the Paranormal United Network.
Well, I did, but I mean, there's 7 people on here. Usually, I share it to the group chat because that's got hundreds of people from Paranormal United Network in it, and that way, when I do that, then they see.
Yeah.
Josh said, Facebook is so bad lately.
Yep.
That's true.
We even had some
very true.
stuff get blocked or something on our page, didn't we, Jason, like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so. They have a problem with blocking some music out sometimes. And it'll come on there and say some of your video was muted because of that. But usually we try to use generic stuff that doesn't you talk about, that don't happen to, but sometimes it still does.
Yeah, Facebook bots have a habit of picking up on the most random things. Like it could be any type of music.
A lot of the Paranormal United Network content has, some of it got blocked the other day too. They're saying by the big huge company that pays for a lot of music or whatever, mass music files that were used in movies or anything like that. They have a lot of ownership of them or whatever. And then I guess if you play a part of them on something, then they block it and they mute it.
One of the inspirations for what I do is I take a lot of the experiences that I've had, either paranormal experiences, and I kind of incorporate it into the show, either with the urban legends or mythology. I'm in Virginia, so we have a lot of mythology around us. I mean, I'm next to the Dismal Swamp, and they have a lot of. If you're into cryptids, they have cryptid legends, a lot of ghost stories.
Right.
So,
I've seen some of your stuff or whatever. Some of the names of the shows or the topics about different cryptids and stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
We did one not too long ago about the dogmen of Virginia. That was interesting.
It seems like a lot of states experience what they call a dogman. I know Florida is a big place for that. Of course, anything you're talking about up towards Skinwalker Ranch area up there in Utah and all this.
Yeah.
But No, yeah, that's a big deal, but they don't get a lot of the recognition. You know, you're looking more like the Bigfoot stuff, and aliens, obviously. But yeah, the Dog Man is a very interesting subject, and so is like the skinwalkers, things like that. Yeah, if you know anything about the Dog Man, it's very interesting, cryptid.
Yeah,
Adam?
I think every state has like their own, I guess, like their mythological. I don't know if they're fictional or not. I'm not going to say they are or they're not because I'd have to see them all, you know, evidence. But they're like everyone has a crybaby bridge, which I don't think that's possible. Not every state can have a crybaby bridge or every city, but I think everyone has their kind of like their native or made up or handed down, and by your family and your family before that, and like your grandmas and grandpas, like the stories, the spooky stories about whatever cryptids and creatures and stuff they tell us about or we hear about.
Yeah,
I can learn about each state and which ones are like the biggest ones and most popular ones for that state. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it's very cool. Um, Here, there's a lot. I mean, I'm 5 minutes away from Virginia Beach, so here the whole thing is everybody's into pirates and stuff. I mean, if I go 10 minutes in one direction, I'm at the James River, which is where they put Blackbeard's head on a pike to ward off pirates.
I need to go
So,
there. I'm obsessed with pirates. Yeah.
come on to Virginia Beach. We got plenty of pirate stories.
So is it like a fake totem of Blackbeard's head on a thing, or
Uh,
is it?
so I guess when he was killed by Lieutenant Maynard down in Ocracoke, North Carolina, they brought his head up. They brought his head back as proof that he was dead, and they
Oh,
placed it on a pike at the foot of the James River to ward off other pirates. And his crew was taken to Williamsburg, which is 30 miles up the road, and that's where they were tried and executed. So
hmm.
if you're into ghost stories about pirates, we get plenty of those here.
I would love that. I would like to come research there then. Because, like I'm going to start a podcast in October, and one of the topics I want to talk about is like pirates or anything with nautical ghosts or submarines or ships that are haunted, stuff like that. I want to do a season over that.
Oh, that'd be
Basically, like
cool.
nautical ghosts, nautical spirits, nautical folklore. It could have Loch Ness monster, anything that's nautical, mermaids, whatever the lights that go over from the aliens that go over the water in certain places.
Apparently, we have those now too. So
Yeah, well,
don't you
they're
don't you
showing
guys
up in
share
all
some of
places.
the? I was gonna say, don't you guys share some of the like the Mothman myths up there and everything?
it's funny that you should mention that. I was in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, back in March, and I visited the site of the Silver Bridge where it collapsed at,
Mhm.
which surrounds the whole Mothman mythology. And I also went to the Mothman Museum, and that whole area, it's amazing how that one story is so ingrained in their culture.
Yeah,
So they really get into it about the Mothman.
yeah. There's interesting theories about it. Like he only appears like when something's about to happen, or he just is just seen sort of like Bigfoot from time to time. He's interesting character, and he's been around for a long time. And there's only supposedly only one, so it's kind of interesting. So I don't. He must have a long lifespan.
They Well, there's some pictures of the Silver Bridge before it collapsed, and supposedly the Mothman was captured at the top of one of the pilings. That they took a picture of it. They claim it's the Mothman. They also claim that the Mothman's birthplace was actually at a proving ground near Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in one of the old Fallout vaults,
Yeah, I
which
think
I didn't get a chance to
Oh,
go see, but I'm going to next time I get there.
yeah, yeah. I've heard the same thing about that.
like a fall, like the one of the fallout shelters you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, where at?
If you go to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, it's probably about 15 miles away. And if you go to the Mothman Museum, they will give you a map to it.
That's, that's cool.
Good luck.
Yeah. So are you guys inundated with a bunch of like conspiracy stuff, not just that kind of thing, but like underground military bases up there and stuff that you've heard anything about?
I haven't heard anything as far as underground military bases.
Well, they say something like there's a supposed secret military bases underground where some of these creatures escape from. Like you're talking about Mothman and like some like even Bigfoot creatures and things like that. So thought I'd ask.
I haven't heard anything about that, but regarding the Mothman and the proving ground, that proving ground was decommissioned in the '60s. So there's a lot of stories to build around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, TNT plants.
Sorry, I have one of the watchers, and they're asking me. They're putting comments on here, but I'm not seeing it. It's Linda. Ammunition storage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We got several different theories in the mountains.
Yeah.
I always like to be able to see everybody's stuff on here through commenting so they can join the conversation and ask questions.
That's the one. That's the one thing I like about StreamYard is that you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jennifer.
So Jennifer. So what's like the UFO stuff up that way? Any reports of that around like the coastline or anything?
I mean, apparently, if you watch the local news, I guess people have been getting a lot of photos of UFOs lately. I personally haven't seen one. That's not really my area, but I don't rule out anything these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting, especially since, like you just said, the kind of the mainstream news is really starting to kind of talk about these things. So,
yeah,
it's not so much you can only talk about it, with among friends. Now it's actual, it's news. So,
military underground bases. I like it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Josh. Those underground bases. I've been hearing a lot about that up that way. So that's why I had to ask. So.
And around this area, I'm not surprised about anything, just because it's the largest collection of military bases in the States. I mean, we got probably about 8 in this area. Shirley said she's seen 2 UFOs.
She's from Oklahoma. She was a correction officer.
Cool.
Yeah. Where did you see the UFOs at, Shirley?
I've seen 2. I've seen 2 in Oklahoma, so.
I don't know if I've seen UFOs, but I've seen enough other crazy shit. Crazy crap. So I don't really care if I've seen UFOs or not because I've seen enough other stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of crazy stuff. Yes, I was.
What's crazy is the 2 that I saw were not bigger than like a beach ball. One big.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool.
Like, I feel like if they want someone to see them, then they'll make someone see them. Like spirits. If spirits want me to see them, and they know that I see them, then they're going to make me see them all the time. If an alien wants me to see it, they're going to want to see it.
I haven't seen a UFO yet. I'm still holding out. My son's still holding out to see one, so
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I mean, I would like to see one, but I know that they're there. Like, I don't have to see them to know that they're there.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. Some of the guys that do communicate with them, like Dr. Stephen Greer, that does. If you know anything about him or watch anything on him, he's a very interesting character that actually can almost make these UFOs show up on command with their communication. He's got lots of videos of it happening, so it's interesting. And if you look at anything like from throw the conspiracy stuff out there, but like Bob Lazar, that guy, from the work at Area 51, supposedly, he's very convincing, but a lot of people are, so you can only take that with.
If you have some questions, I'm trying to help somebody join the conversation. She really wants to join, so I'm trying to figure out how to get her on here. She's not seeing the stuff.
So you mentioned like your paranormal stuff. Like, where's your interest and background coming with that?
The area I grew up in wasn't. I mean, I grew up in a small town called Madison, Indiana, right on the Ohio River, right down up the river from Louisville, Kentucky. If you've ever been there to Waverly Hills, I mean, Waverly Hills was a big one. But in Madison, we had lots of ghost stories about a local mansion there called the Lanier Mansion that was built by JFD Lanier. Up the river in Vevey, we had the Shank Mansion that was supposedly haunted, which unfortunately you can't go there now because it's not open to the public anymore. Tattoo artist Kat Von D ended up buying it. So
Where?
it's in Vevey, Indiana. It's called the Shank Mansion. It used to be a bed and breakfast, but before that, I mean, it was open to the public. You can go there. You could do paranormal research if you wanted, but since it's been sold privately, that's pretty much ended.
That stinks.
Hi from Tokyo, Japan. Hi back.
I'm a big Kat Von D fan too. That's all it was.
Yeah, she bought it. So
see, we run into a lot. You got some of these guys that's on these shows that have a lot of money, and they go up and buy those places, and sometimes they shut them down, and we can't have access to them anymore.
That kind of stinks when they do that.
Yeah,
all the stuff they're doing, it's like a conspiracy or something. Like, why would you do that? Do you have like a thought against paranormal researchers? Do you have a specific reason? Do you want to conjure something there and keep it for yourself? I don't know. I'm just spouting off things.
It's interesting because you look at like Zach Bagans, because he does that. He'll buy stuff and put it in private stuff, and you can't ever access it, or even like the Demon House. I understand why he tore it down, but it's like that's going to be attractive for paranormal people. They're going to go in the area, but it's funny, Rosie. I was actually talking to at the Paracon. I forgot the girl's name, but she's from Oklahoma. Has that team that we've talked to them before. Starts with an A. Is it APX?
Afterlife Paranormal Investigations. Michelle.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, she was there, but we were talking about the same sort of thing about I was talking to her about getting into locations and how people don't sometimes promote it, or want to be associated with anything paranormal. So I was talking to her about the location in Van Buren, how those people are. It's somewhere that is haunted and you've got activity in it, and you're really missing a really big opportunity to make money for you and for your town tourists. So when you don't allow people to investigate it, just because they say they don't want to be associated with that kind of thing.
Because there's already enough of that at public places that are historical. They don't want, I guess, all these scoundrels coming out and wanting investigations all the time. So they're like, we don't want to be known for that. And that the place is haunted, and you're just dying to go in, even if you're private about it, and you don't even want to get people to come there. You don't care if other people come there. You just know that it's haunted, and it will give you the experience to be able to come in and do your work, and they won't let you in there. It's sad.
That's what I'm saying. They're just missing an opportunity, really, to make money and to actually make it a known place, not just for paranormal, but just to put the name out there. So like I said, it's that place in Van Buren that I'm talking about that won't let us in there. That there are proven facts that it is haunted. So but they say they don't want to be known for that. But to me, that's just making you're missing an opportunity, so you can use that money that you get from the paranormal researchers to.
Sorry, I'm not trying to move all over the place, but I hear my kid coming, so I'm fixing to put my headphones on.
Yeah.
I just shared this with like 30 places.
Then you get other places too that become so popular that they start charging so much that you can't possibly afford a group to go there and do the study.
Because we don't charge for investigations, so how are we going to make the money to pay the hundreds of dollars to come in and do an investigation at a place like that? I mean, some places charge $1,000.
Yeah. I'm not. It's funny. I was actually just talking to somebody the other day that wants to go to Waverly Hills, but they can't afford to go there. I remember when Waverly Hills, it was called Woodhaven at the time when it was still in use as a kid. But then after they shut it down, it's like everybody forgot about it, except like some of the locals. And I think about maybe 17 years ago is when it really started to come back and become popular. But before that, I think in the 80s, from the time it shut down, people would go there anyway. You would
Yeah.
have sometimes homeless people, sometimes just people wanting to go there because they believe it's haunted,
Right.
which it could very well be.
Yeah, we actually did a big investigation at Waverly a couple months back.
Okay.
But as far as the cost goes, like what you're talking about, it's true. You know, it's like $1,000 something dollars. But you know, it sounds like a lot of money. But if you have a group of like 10 people and break that down, it's not that bad. But
Yeah.
if you can't afford that, then like a solo person, yeah, I can understand it being pretty expensive. But,
Yeah, you'd have to have a big group probably, or a team that could afford it. Like
Right.
we went with a really big group, so it wasn't a lot for us to go. And I'm not saying that they don't need the money to upkeep the place or whatever,
Yeah.
because it's a large facility, or to pay electric bills or whatnot. But like, if you're a group and you don't charge for investigations, how are you going to keep going to investigations when you're having to pay for the investigations, but you're not charging or making any money doing that kind of work? It's so hard. It's like a starving artist. It's a starving artist status.
It kind of is because you know our team, Not Tech Collective, is a nonprofit, so we don't charge. Yeah, like she said, for our investigations, we're not making money. So the only way we're going to is either we're going to get a deal on TV or if we're going to get sponsored. You know, that's
Right.
really that's the only way you're going to make money, really. But you know, it's money is secondary, even thirdly, to what you're actually doing it for anyway. To you know get evidence of life after death, obviously, and to secondly to you know help people. But
Right.
you know, it's the money. It's tough. You got to be pretty creative sometimes. But Waverly is a massive place, and the owners of that place now are using that money to update the building, to do repairs and stuff. So they are using it
Right.
for good things.
Yeah.
So you know, it's really cool to see that, and really cool to see like what changes they've made. And you know, it's so like I'm sure Rosie can tell you the same thing. The place is so massive. You've seen it on TV tons of times, but it really doesn't do it justice until you see it in person. You know, I'm
No.
sure. You know, I don't know if you know living around the area if you actually went there and seen it, but yeah, it's kind of like almost shocks you how big it is when you're actually there. So you
I
can
haven't been
imagine.
in 15 years, so it's been about 15 years since I've been back there. But I've heard they've
That's
started
a
to
long
fix the place
time.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
they've done more research, like extensive research and more investigations to like update the information that they actually had put out previously, and like the new owners and the new people that run the place have done information actually updates to kind of prove that a lot of the stories that were being told previously weren't true.
Okay.
yeah. But what's crazy is the true stories are actually way better. You know, it's cool that sometimes they embellish it on TV, but when you go and actually get that from the people who run the place now, yeah, man, it's really cool. Like the actual real history of it and some of the stories. It's pretty sad, obviously, but um, as far as like amping you up for the paranormal, you know, side of it, it's pretty cool.
Hi, Linda. And yes, Linda, I do. So to answer your question, one of the problems I had with Waverly was that you mentioned some of the stories that weren't true. Is that one of the, if you want to call it even legend, was that 30,000 people died in the place.
Mm-hmm.
That can kind of be disputed a lot by. So there's only actually accountable, supposedly maybe 100 people dying within a 10-year period. So that's like 29,000 off. So I would have to go back and look at all the numbers, but that the number was greatly exaggerated about how many people actually died within the hospital,
Yeah.
even of tuberculosis. Which, if you had tuberculosis at that time, once you checked in, that was it. You were not checking out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'd
funny.
say most of the time, yeah, or like 99% of the time.
What's funny about the numbers is, you know, we didn't really actually even talk about the numbers much, did we? I don't think we did. I don't think
No,
we
they
might have
didn't really
even.
say. They just gave
Oh,
specific names of people that they knew
yeah,
were patients there and that they knew information
right,
about.
right. Which was better it was better that way. I think like you're not going there thinking like thousands of
Yeah,
people died in this place. You get their actual personal stories
that's
from the
kind of
few.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really kind of it really hones you down on some hot spots with those stories because the evidence backs it up. Like when you
Right.
do an investigation there. Now the thousands of people, like you're saying, it's a creepy factor to say that, but like I said, when you get just the few stories from the few people that are known to passed away there, it's still creepy and
Yeah.
still sad. So regardless.
Oh yeah. The other story was I think it was Room 502. That was the big one. The legend of Room 502 about the nurses. One hung herself, and the other one flung herself out the window. Finding actual documentation of the actual deaths of that, I haven't been able to find anything, but it's still a good story. It could be true.
Mm.
It hasn't been proven, and it hasn't been disproven yet.
I tell you, when
Records
you go
tend to get lost.
when you're up there in that room 502, it really does have a different kind of feel to it than
Yeah.
some of the rest of the building. I mean, you really can tell the difference in a little bit of the energy change.
Yeah. And then the reason, like the room that we were in, where they said the two sisters were at, that had one of them died there. There was two sisters named Lois and Audrey, and they were in the same room together. I mean, just like feet apart, like they could almost reach each other. That's how small the room was. And the story that they had told about them, I just got kind of fixated on that, and we did a spirit box session in there because we wanted to see if they had any answers for us or that they could tell us. Audrey supposedly, like her children, she had TB, so she didn't ever get to hug, kiss, or hold her children, I guess, when they were born. Once she got TB, she never got to touch her kids again.
Mm.
And they actually had to see her die in there, and they were little kids when she died in there, and that's sad.
Yeah, it's very sad that. Um, the other big one that I mentioned, Madison, Indiana. One of the big supposedly haunted places is the Lanier Mansion. It's supposedly haunted by the son of John F. Dee's son, Jeffrey. He died when he was 7 years old, and he drowned in a carriage accident, probably not even 50 feet from his front yard.
Oh, wow.
It killed him. It swallowed the whole carriage up in quicksand. So the story of the Lanier Mansion is that he haunts the mansion, specifically the nursery. And if you've ever been there, if you ever go there, if anybody's watching has ever been there, has been in that nursery, it is creepy. And that rocking horse is creepy. It said at one point to be, what's the word? Kind of like the Annabelle in a way. If I'm,
Like a
don't even know
conduit?
what, yeah, kind of like a totem in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Attached object and object of attachment or fixation, kind of like that he was attached to on Earth, so he's attached to it in the spirit world.
So anybody that gets close to that rocking horse usually gets an eerie feeling, and they don't even have to know what happened or the story of them, but they all get the same feeling.
Oh,
That's really neat. I'd want to go check out the rocking horse. Plus, rocking horses are kind of neat, anyways.
And people that have walked the grounds have often reported seeing Jeffrey stare out the window at them, or see a little boy up in the window.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
They've even reported that, hey, there's a kid that's up there, called 911. It's weird.
Where is this located at?
Madison, Indiana.
Okay, I'm thinking of somewhere in Maine that has a similar storyline. Maybe not the way that they passed away, but there's a room up like an attic, and there's a little baby or a little boy's spirit that looks out of the attic down at everybody. Somewhere else, though. Not in Indiana. Erie, Indiana.
Yeah, that's what most people think of is Erie, Indiana.
Erie, Indiana.
Some are fake, but did you ever come across something like that? Did you ever
Yeah, that's a question.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, like creatures in the backyard, like the little, what's the little two-legged guys that they're caught? Forget what they're called, but what people are calling them.
They just have legs, basically, in a waist, and it's nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys.
Or gnomes. I've seen recently gnomes and elf videos of these tiny little bitty. They look like Gollum, but they're little bitty people, and they're in the background, and there's no way to explain. They're like, oh no, speaking in whatever language they do, we're caught. Let's get off camera. That's just probably what they're saying in elf language. And then they run out of there and they hide and they're like, oh my God, what was that? It looked like Gollum had a baby.
I like where you said some of the videos are fake, and you can tell that they are. But there are some videos that are just like, I'm not understanding how this is happening. So with today's technology, you can do just about anything. But sometimes you can tell that the video is real. It's really hard to tell if it's planted or not. But
yeah, because you can edit things like we do, where you just bring forth the light and the contrast to show something in multiple photos where it's more like seeable. And then you have people that actually take stuff and put it in
the
photos or in the video or in, I don't know, whatever, like proof or evidence that they're using as paranormal evidence, EVP maybe or something. So Linda. I'm glad Linda finally made it. She got in here. She's the one that she was having a problem getting in here, and she logged out and logged back in, I guess, or something. Rocking Horse made me think of that chair that's supposedly cursed, where whoever sits healed. Are you talking about James Dean's car?
He's talking about the chair that Zach Bagans has in the museum.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been there.
I've seen James Dean's car up at the museum in Fairmont, Indiana.
Gosh, I want to go see that so bad. That's like my bucket list of things to see.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, supposedly anyone that's ever owned or touched a piece of it got killed soon after in a really weird, awful way.
And I've never touched a piece of it, so
I've even seen people that are too skeptical too, like people that are like in the paranormal field. Like there was a special last year, like a year ago, I want to say Chris Gerentano did it, and it was called The Unexplained, and he did 6 different segments or 6 episodes, and he went there and he wouldn't touch it. He was like, no, I'm skeptical and I believe in superstitions. I'm not touching that piece of that vehicle because I don't want to die. Not happening, sorry. I loved Indiana.
It was
it was on Disney or Nickelodeon, I can't remember, but I loved it. Or was it MTV?
It's kind of interesting, these kind of things, like talk about James Dean's car, but then it also brings you to like Robert the Doll and Annabelle and things like that. You don't touch.
So I've come face to face with Robert the Doll back in 2012. Oh, what an experience that was!
Yeah.
So I went down to Key West because it was part of my job at the time for about a week, and even before I went to Key West, I had seen it was on one of the paranormal shows about Robert the Doll, and I had totally forgot Robert the Doll was in Key West. Mm-hmm. So then I just took a tour of the local museum, and and then I was like, "Oh, there's that creepy doll." Oh my! But I had a full charge of my camera, and the museum keeper kept saying, don't make fun of the doll, don't tease the doll, and I mean. My friends that were with me, they knew nothing about the doll.
And he's a sailor doll too, is he not?
Yeah, he's a sailor. Yeah, I've actually got a poster of him downstairs on my wall that I brought back. So they knew nothing about Robert the Doll. I did. And they kept making fun of the doll. They kept teasing the doll. And I had a full charge of my camera. And my battery started to smoke.
Oh, wow.
So
that's kind of weird.
And then my camera was completely useless after that. And all the pictures I had taken of Robert the Doll were completely blurred, too.
Yeah, you see, that's one thing about it. You're supposed to ask him permission. Did you do that?
Yeah.
No.
You probably didn't know that either then,
Yeah. Yeah, they say you're supposed to ask him permission to take a picture of them.
But seeing this doll... in person, I mean, it's something else. It's one thing to see it on TV, but when you see something like that behind a pane of glass that's right up in front of your face, it puts things into a whole new perspective. You mentioned Annabelle, so that's actually on my list was to eventually go to the Warren Museum and take a tour of that.
Yeah.
Even though my co-hosts have advised against it, but
Yeah, see,
It's still on my list.
here's the thing about that is that the Warren's Museum is closed to the public right now,
Right.
and it has been for a while. And they say it's because of something to do with like zoning. They changed the zones, and they can't. I don't know. It's like they can't charge people to go to a museum or something right now.
Hmm.
But now the guy that owns the doll, Tony Sperta, he actually takes Annabelle to different events, like the real
Okay.
Annabelle. So she is able to travel with him. I don't know what precautions they take or what they do, but they do take her to private events, and you can buy tickets to go actually see her. So
Okay. That might be an alternative if
Yeah,
they never
they're
open
doing
the Warren.
more. They've started doing more stuff like that, anyways. Like since the coronavirus, a lot
yeah,
of people have started actually. And I was trying to get another friend to do this with me. The mobile museums, like mobile paranormal object museums, just like an RV or a whimsical trailer, and you actually turn it into a mobile paranormal museum, so you can travel and take it to different places, kind of like a circus, I guess, and make money in all these different cities and towns with your paranormal stuff. That way, you're taking it to them, and they're not having to come to you. It's
yeah.
Right.
probably something to do with coronavirus and the rules and the laws of if you had it at a building in a certain state and you had to follow abide their rules.
I
But
don't
that's
know.
picked up quite a bit.
It's interesting, but well, I sent that to you actually, Rosie, about a week ago or something about the Warrens doing or they're uh, doing some sort of Paracon. I don't remember where it's
Oh
at,
yeah,
but well,
yeah, it's far away. He's going to be
Tony,
there. Yeah,
yeah, he's bringing Annabelle and some other things from the
yeah.
museum.
He's like the main event, basically.
Yeah,
Of all the places I've been to, though, I talked about the Lanier Mansion, the Shank Mansion. Me and my wife were actually going to get married there back in 2008 when it was still open to the public.
mm.
And we had taken a tour. We had heard the stories of the hauntings and everything. That's one of the things that attracted us to it. And we were led on a tour, and we went up to the steeple. So to get a good look of what the mansion is, you can go on there, Google the Shank Mansion, VV, Indiana. But we went up to the steeple, and it smelled like something died in there. It was the absolute stench of death. And the first thing my wife notices was all the flies everywhere.
Yeah,
And then they shoot us away from that part, but that stuck in our minds.
and you
So,
didn't see anything that could have caused it. Probably right. Like
oh
no rotten trash or no like dead animals or
no, no, it
anything.
looked empty. It looked
Yeah.
completely empty. There could have been something dead up there, but I didn't see anything.
Wow.
Um, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Not
I'm
just
going to read
saying.
some of the comments too because they're just going right by and I'm not reading any
Right.
of them. And the viewers go down if you don't read the comments. I don't know if y'all know that because I can see it and y'all can't. But if you don't read the comments, every episode, for sure, if I don't read the comments, the viewers will go way down. So if they're not being heard, then they probably don't feel important, then they go away. So I love the Grimm brothers stories that were treated for the TV show Grimm. It ran for 6 seasons. I haven't seen that many seasons of it, but I had seen it before, and I know what she's talking about. I do like the Brothers Grimm. It would be nice to have new paranormal stories with treatment like Grimm, the TV show.
Yeah.
And then Adam had asked if the doll was behind glass, I think he meant. The Robert
Yeah.
doll, I think.
Yeah.
Robert was behind glass at the time.
Which was probably, I mean, I'm going to guess it was probably spell casted with some kind of containment spell or protection.
It's weird because the doll is actually maybe about a block away from where the house that the doll was actually placed in at the time.
Mm.
With I forget what his name was, Otto something. I forget what his last name is, but it's the doll where it resides now is not that far away from the actual house that the doll was in for a good number of years.
Mm. I thought I saw something
Robert
too
doll.
that Chucky was loosely based on Robert the doll. I think.
I believe so.
I think that was a little bit of inspiration for it.
Yeah, there's another story too, though, about Chucky. I can't remember. It goes back before like I heard anything about Robert the doll. And it was something to do, I think, based on voodoo or something like that, or hoodoo or something like that. Like that's where it stemmed from. When I want to say, or Haitian, well, voodoo, Haitians practice voodoo.
I mean,
Uh,
it could be because if you do remember the movie, that's the chant he did was like a voodoo thing to get inside Chucky's doll,
yeah,
Right.
like the person. So I mean, you could be right. I don't know.
and it's like the spirit was invoked into the doll or whatever. The murderer was a murderer, right?
Yeah. Charles
Yeah,
Lee Ray, I believe. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, according to the legend, that Robert was actually given to the boy by a Haitian servant.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, see, there you go. I
That could
didn't-
be closely related too. Then they could both be very closely related. Yeah, Haitian voodoo, or maybe it could all be like related. Would you want to own one? Adam asked. Would you guys want to own one?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I don't know. I don't do dolls, so I don't.
I already own haunted dolls. Thank
Yeah.
you. And they don't give me any problems. As long as the people don't give me problems. The only reason that anything weird happens, and I don't even think it has anything to do with, sorry, I have a hair in my eye. It has anything to do with the objects, but I've had people doing stupid stuff to me or against
Mm.
me. But I've
Yeah.
never had any spirits bother me or do anything to me. Jason does when we go to places. Sometimes they pick at him, but they never do anything to me or harm me or pick at me or antagonize me.
Yeah. And one time I remember I woke up one time with 3 scratches on my arm, so there's
Mhm.
that.
And the
But,
glass at Broken Bow, the
yeah.
glass chunk. He's had
Yeah.
glass chunked at him, big chunks of glass, like a chunk
Yeah.
thrown at him
Where was this at?
The Broken Bow Asylum.
Okay.
in Oklahoma.
Broken Bow. Oklahoma. Yeah.
Uh,
We
that's
were
going to
doing
be put on my list.
I
So,
think you're more like the physical attack person. And then if anything happens to me, it's usually like spiritual
Yeah.
or like emotional and mental, like a psychic attack. And you get physically
Yeah.
attacked, like scratched and stuff thrown at you.
Right.
so what's some of the experiences that you two have had? I mean, like,
You can say
Yeah.
some and then I'll say some.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for sure, like the glass for sure being thrown at me. That was fun. But we come into contact with different spirits when we do residential investigations. So you kind of never really know what you're going to get into there. Even if they tell us about it, it's sometimes it takes us being there. But I do know I get more like tugs, like on my ear, or like messing with me, like grabbing my clothes or whatever. But I never really experienced too like what would you call it, Rosie? Like where they, the spirits
I feel
tell
like
me
it's in a
anything.
spiritual attack, like it's a spiritual warfare attack, is what I honestly think, because it always seems to, it's either mental or like emotional. So, like, I think those tie together
Yeah,
with
what's the spiritual hangover? What do you want to call that? Like what do you call it?
a ghost hangover.
a ghost hangover?
A ghost
Yeah,
hangover, yeah,
which
or a
it does.
paranormal hangover.
Yeah,
I
it
call it
does
ghost
happen.
sickness. I call it a ghost sickness, but that also would cover something that would be elongated. So, like, if you take this is just an example because it's the first thing I can think of, but it's happened to me before. If you go in and you take like Lorraine Warren in that case that she went in, that she contacted something that was so dark that it actually affected her and it almost killed her, and she didn't leave her bedroom for like a week or something like that, and didn't eat anything and didn't talk to anybody. That would be a ghost sickness, but it's like really deep and it's a really
Yeah,
long ghost sickness that she may not have ever actually came back from or went back to being her normal self. She might not have actually repaired from, but it could be lighter than that, like a ghost sickness. Like I've had a situation where I'm dealing with somebody that's a client, and we're dealing with going into their home and trying to, read what kind of energy is there and trying to help them figure out why is it attached to them or what's it attached to that's there. What is it doing there? Who it is? How old is it? Why? When did it die? Does it know her? Does it just reside there? Or him? Does it just reside there because of the foundation of the building? And does it reside there because it died there? And then after
Mm.
doing that, you're affected by that for a while. that
Yeah.
could be ghost sickness too. It's just not as bad as something that's really, really bad. And I've had something little like that, and I've had something pretty bad. So
Yeah, that stuff really doesn't bother me as far as like spiritual attacks or like energy wise or anything like that, but it does hurt. Um, like she said earlier, I get more of the physical stuff for some reason, but
I think Josh, what he said, yeah, they know your vulnerability depending on your senses. He's
yeah,
more of a like a left brain concrete person, and I'm kind of more of like a right brain. I try to be both, but my right, brain self or my like, I'm very open, I guess, spiritually. So I think that's why they would attack me there. Because honestly, if you think about it, spiritual warfare, they want your soul. So whatever they need to attack you, wherever you're going to be the weakest at, that's what they'd want to do.
yeah. And I think if you got both sides of it like that, that makes a good team. So it's you're
That's how I figure out how to
experiencing.
get myself out of those situations
Uh,
and
yeah.
survive.
And other than that, we caught some apparitions, and on film, and we've seen shadow figures and all the classic stuff like that, orbs. So we come across a big gambit of everything, and sometimes other than that, when we're just doing regular investigations, it just depends on the night really, because sometimes it's just boring and nothing happens at all.
Mm.
So we can't make them do stuff. We don't ask them to do things like that either, because we're pretty respectful for the entities are there, the spirits are there, because like we always say, they were people once. So you treat them with respect, like you're going into their house and just have a conversation.
Right.
Whatever happens. But yeah, we don't try to provoke or anything like that. So
Sorry, I'm
It
answering somebody back in the comments. Y'all can go ahead. Like,
you're fine.
it's episode 3 is about the Wendigo, Linda.
Oh,
I
that's
believe.
Wendigos are pretty interesting. I mean, I wouldn't want to run into one. you know.
It is definitely one of the most malevolent spirits in Native American folklore. And here, where I am, about 20 miles up the road, we have the Powhatan village near Jamestown.
Oh.
Then we
I
have
know
a
where that
Native,
is. I've heard of that before.
yeah, that whole area has its own
Mm-hmm.
ghost stories, especially among the Powhatans. Wendigo is definitely prevalent. That it's not that far away from Pet Cemetery, basically. If you're a fan of that movie or the actual story, it mainly involves the Wendigo.
Yeah,
So, as the antagonist.
I need to watch
Okay.
more of your shows
Um,
because I always like to hear everyone's theories in every avenue of like the thought of like what the possibility is on every folklore. What's the
Here, it all
explanations?
it all depends on who you talk to. I mean,
Yeah,
if you live in the city, either you're gonna believe in spirits or you're not. If you live in the country, where I am, uh, it's a pretty common belief, especially if you live near the Dismal Swamp. I mean, we have our own swamp people, so and the Wendigo legend is pretty big among them.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with it, uh, oh, that is a long
That's
comment.
a lot.
yeah. I made a really long comment like that too. She is. She's one upping me. No, I'm just kidding. I prayed for. She said, I went to Pismo Beach last year and a spirit got in bed with me and wrapped its arms around me and I felt like it was trying to absorb into me. I prayed for God to make it leave and it left for a while, but then I got up to go to the bathroom and my friend woke up. The room was dark and she saw a shadow in front of me blocking me so I couldn't move. It was blacker than black. The other spirit got back in bed with me and then left.
Hmm.
So I wonder if the one that was in bed with you was holding you and trying to protect you from and shielding you from the darker one.
Could have
Because a
been.
lot of the times I feel like this, and I don't have pure evidence, but I have a little bit of evidence from doing residual or like residentials that there's actually most of the time it seems like if there's a woman or a child involved, there's a lot of the times there's a protective spirit. If there is a
Okay.
bad one, there's a lot of the times someone that's come in that's a protector spirit, like their spirit guides or their lost loved ones, their grandmas, their grandpas, their nanas, their papas, their mom, their dad, their brother, their cousin, or whoever is coming in, and they're scared because they don't know that person is like trying to help them, and this happened to me. So that's how I started seeing a pattern of this happening. It happened to me, and I didn't know it was my cousin, and I just freaked out and thought something was messing with me, and I, was like, oh, I need to pray to Jesus, and I need to clench onto my Bible, and I need to like make it go away. And it wasn't even anything bad. It was my cousin that was best friends with me when he passed away, trying to warn me of some other stuff that was going to happen that was much worse.
Yeah, and that's just one thing, is that not all spirits are bad. If you're seeing them or experiencing them or anything like that, it's just it doesn't mean that they're evil or trying to do you harm. Most of the times too, if you've seen them over and over and over, if they haven't hurt you, then they're not going to. They're not there for that. And I can understand it being a little scary because you're seeing something that you can't really explain how is this happening, but at the same time, if it's wanting to do you harm, it would have, or it would, like you said, it's most of the time people just don't understand that it's there to offer you some sort of protection. So that's true.
Adam asked, "What is your?" And I was agreeing that like provoking is bad, like Josh said, and we don't ever try to provoke anything. I know that there's a lot of people that do that because they get their jollies off and they get ratings and followers and stuff. But we don't do that because I'm not going to do that because I feel like I'd get spiritually attacked even worse, and I already get spiritually attacked enough. I don't think that would be good for me, and I might not last a lot longer on Earth if I kept provoking things to, be harmful toward me or anybody else.
Yeah.
What's the name of your page? Sorry, he's asking. Cowboy Ben. What's your name of your pages and your stories? Where can he find them at?
Okay. You can go to Psycho Bunny Death Cult or Psychomanium 13. You'll find me on there. I'm there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. My counterpart, Cemetery Joe, he's there every Monday and Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He'll usually host a horror movie. But I'm on there. I talk about Native American legends, spirits, my experiences that I've had here living in Virginia. One of the biggest things that I like to do is me and my wife, we like to go to cemeteries around here, and we have some old ones. I mean, we have graves dating back all the way to the early 1500s.
Wow.
And every time I leave a cemetery, I say, whoever's here, do not follow me. Do not follow me.
You have to stay here. You ain't got to go home, but you can't go with me. You can't go with me.
But that's where you can find me at.
We do those things too. We say protection prayer, and we try to do our best to not let anything fall us down. But
not death cult. Death cult. Don't let that last part scare you.
It says it on the bottom here on the ticker. If you can see it, Josh.
Yeah. Okay.
Death coat. It sounds pretty cool too, though.
So, what we are is we're a collection of we're a collective of artists. So we have visual, literary content on there, and we have podcasters. We have people that get on there and draw, that do art. We get a little bit of everything.
That's cool.
So tune in.
And then just said coat.
Yeah, not coat. Yes, but not the bad kind.
Not the kind you. Never mind. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah. Just the name.
I was going to say something really funny, but it might not be funny to everybody.
The Psycho Bunny Death Cult is more horror oriented, but Psychomanium 13 it's more sci-fi, punk rock type feel, pop culture. But we stream over all the networks.
That's cool.
Yeah, I put the days in the comments too for the first one that you said, but it wasn't for the your counterpart and the days that he's on.
Well, hopefully next time he'll be on here. So
yes, we're gonna have him on here.
I know he's looking forward to coming on the show.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what was Joshua? I love cemeteries. Yeah, we actually do a lot of photo shoots in cemeteries. So.
Yeah, and spirit box sessions. That's where I started, like, going to develop, like different tools, I guess, to do paranormal experiments and investigations. I just went to cemeteries and practiced flexing that muscle, the sixth sense, I guess.
When you went to Waverly Hills, did you get a chance to go to Cave Hill Cemetery by chance in Louisville?
No, I've heard about it though. I've seen several people say stuff about it, and a girl had recommended.
It's huge. It's a giant cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend that one too if you ever go back.
Yeah, I think we're going to go back next year, right? So we'll go back next
I
year.
hope so. I can't really say what's going to happen because I don't know for sure. They haven't planned it out and they haven't already reserved it and RSVP'd or anything like that. I don't know between now and then what's going to happen, but I'm going to try to. Yeah, if not, then I hope I get to go to Pittsburgh Hospital or to Gettysburg or somewhere like that.
Yeah, we'll go to Gettysburg, but not in the summer.
I'd go in the summer.
No.
I just need a lot of water.
No.
Maybe stupid hair. Maybe like a umbrella or like a what are those tent things? There's like a tent, but it's open. It's just got the four legs.
That's just too much. We'll go with
You don't want to suffer like they did. Maybe they'll connect with you better. You get to suffer like they did. Bring a canteen and wear a jacket and a hat.
No.
Sit out there overnight with no tent, just some water and some.
So I think that's for you. All your productions are made into
Most
videos.
most of our content is live streaming. Even Cemetery Joe does live streaming when he hosts a movie. My stuff is live streamed. We do have a content artist. He does a show called Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat. His episodes are made into videos, which are easily accessible. And he usually does movie reviews, stuff like that. And the main star of his show is a cat. So that's hence the name Steve the Cat.
I like cats.
Yeah.
When Josh has something to say. When I was in a huge cemetery looking for a grave and within 5 minutes stumbled upon the grave, it was weird as if they directed me. They did direct you there. They did, because sometimes I ask for guidance from spirits to show me which way to go, and I just turn exactly where they tell me to go, and there's what I needed. It's weird. Like a cornfield last week. Remember? I was looking for a cornfield for us to go to check out. We were looking for crop circles and stuff, and I had found another I'd found one that wasn't grown very well yet, and I was like, I need another cornfield, and I was just driving literally. And I was like, which way should I turn, spirits? And they were like, right. So I turned right, and a mile down the road, maybe 2 miles down the road, there was a big cornfield. It was weird.
Yeah, it works that way sometimes, I guess. Streaming is awesome.
Streaming is awesome. It can be.
Yeah, sometimes it can be. Have hiccups.
Yeah, that's what we do. A lot of things. Stuff on our page that we do is that our investigations are always live. So
Yeah.
Good.
yeah, we don't.
Those are the best kind.
Yeah, we don't film them, edit them, or anything like that.
I record a lot of stuff, but it's to make videos and stuff and trailers and like teasers and like advertisements and like commercials. So I record a lot of stuff to do that with, to use as pieces to like, spruce it up and make it cool looking, but not like investigation wise.
Yeah, which is, I think, the best. Like you said, that's probably the best way to do it. I think so.
Thank you, Shirley. We love you listening to us because we need someone to listen to us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Otherwise, we're talking to ourselves, and that means you're crazy. But
I read on one of your bios that Ruby, that you've been to Poland. Is that correct or?
Her?
No, you.
Oh no, I don't. No, I want to go to Poland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No.
I've been to Germany. What is it? Sorry, I got a 4-year-old looking on my shoulders. I have it. Mom have it.
Chicken?
No, thank you though. No, I want to go to Poland and Romania. There's 2 bases there, I think, when I had went to Panama City Beach, Florida, and they were trying to get me to go to Poland or Romania. So I wanted to go there, but I haven't been there. I've been to Crete, and I've been to Athens, and I've been to, I'm sure you know where Suda Bay is.
Yeah, no, well.
Frankfurt and Munich, Germany. London,
Haven't
Paris,
been there.
and I guess all the places in between getting to those places. So, but as far as overseas, I want to go to Romania really bad, and I want to go to Poland because there's like
Never been to Romania. I've been to Poland. I got a chance to go to Auschwitz and Birkenau when I was there.
Friends from there though.
What you're talking about was we were doing a show one time. I don't remember who we were talking to now, but they were asking us if we ever had the chance to investigate that, would we do it? And I said no, because I just think it's too much. It's too sad. You don't want to disrespect anything.
Are you talking about where the Holocaust was?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of the problems I had. Sorry. One of the problems I had when I went. I don't know if it was that I knew what took place before I went, and just seeing all of it in person. But I remember getting very, very ill after leaving that place.
Yeah. I would want to go there only because I'd want to hear the stories of what happened. Yeah, but if I felt like I needed to leave, then I'd probably leave if I felt like I was unhinged.
Yeah, as far as the historical part of it, yeah, but doing any type of investigations there? No.
Probably not, yeah. I would just want to maybe sit there and talk to any spirits that wanted someone to listen to them. You know what I mean? Because they went through a lot of tragedy and they went through a lot of turmoil and torture and terrible, painful, tragic deaths. Right. So those are usually the ones I feel like.
I believe there's just some places in the world that you just leave alone. So
like some of them I feel like sunken ships. Like if a ship is sunken, I feel like their burial is at the bottom of the sea, and you just leave them there and you don't disturb them, and that's why I feel like you have a lot of hauntings, pirates, pirate stories.
Yeah, I know some investigators are probably jump at the chance to do something like that, but I would advise anybody that's ever thought about it, just don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Germany, been there. I've been to Kiel.
Mm-hmm.
Kiel and Hamburg.
Killing some hamburgers in America, yeah.
Stonehenge would be interesting, just because it's still mysterious and you don't really know what it was even there for. So that would be cool.
It would.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh! Look what Linda said. I need to go there. I want to go to Toys R Us in Sunnydale, California. There's a ghost there who won't leave. He's waiting for her. No one can figure out who she is. It's me. He's waiting for me. Or is it Dottie the giraffe is Jeffrey the giraffe. Maybe he's waiting for one of the animals, like the little animal cartoons. Maybe that's who it is.
I didn't know there was still a Toys R Us open. I mean, they shut all of ours here down. So
they shut ours down too. Maybe that one did better. Maybe that one was worth keeping open, or maybe she means the building was a Toys R Us and it's like abandoned now.
It could be.
Is it active? Is it open for business? Is it like an actual? Is it still taking customers and stuff, Linda? I want to go there even more if it is. Buy a bunch of toys.
I don't know. It's probably kind of cool if there's some open still.
The one that the guy died like in the 1800s.
She said, "Oh yes, yes, he's waiting for me. You were supposed to tell me that, and I'm supposed to go there. And if it's open, I'm supposed to buy a bunch of toys. He told you to tell me that. It's still open for business. See, I told you."
That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Assuming you can't be open yet. Um,
It is open. So that's really good news if anyone is wanting to go where a grown up can be a kid and a kid can be a kid. Then in California, you can go there and drive a Barbie Corvette and play with some G.I. Joes or whatever they make now. They don't make those same G.I. Joes, but where's it? Sunnydale, California. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna put that on the top of the bucket list.
Okay.
It's like
I
a
got some
dinosaur.
friends in Bakersfield that I intend to visit at some point.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am.
I'll have to put this on my list. Sunnyvale, Toys R Us.
Yes, that guy from the 1800s. And I'm not even going to read this, but if you want to read it, you can. PG 13, not 18.
Oh.
I'm not touching that one. I walked in there 3 months ago. Linda, did you feel anything weird? Because I think she has, like, she's sensitive. She lives near Bakersfield right now.
I've been through there, but never lived there.
Oh, you're so lucky you all have traveled so much. And I'm not done. We've been to like 6 states in the last 4 days. And my daughter and her boyfriend, he said he's been to 14 states this summer just since school's been out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been all over the country, so. Hollywood. If we wouldn't get bothered, yeah, I'd check it
That's
out.
one of the places I want to go.
Yeah.
Because of some of the production companies that were there, which I'm always talking about, that made, certain movies and trilogies that I liked. Dimension Films.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Dimension Films company and all of the movies that they made. And a lot of the sets were there. And the sets and the memorabilia is still there, and the actors and stuff.
Yeah, I just don't know if we'd have access to it like we want to. So.
Hollywood or Toys R Us?
Yeah, Hollywood, not Toys R Us.
Okay, so I've highlighted her comment. And she's talking about Toys R Us. That's what I was asking. I will have all the access I want. It says where a kid can be a kid.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a huge fan of Sylvia Brown.
Yeah.
When she was alive.
Oh, cool.
I have one of her books.
And Buckham and Crystal Palace, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
That's where my guy proposed to his woman, Garth.
Huh?
Garth Lewis, he proposed to Trisha Yearwood out there.
Yeah. I have a friend that actually delivers there, does deliveries to the Crystal Palace. He was actually just talking about that a few days ago.
The Crystal Palace, the church or the wedding venue?
No,
somewhere else.
Yeah, it's in Bakersfield.
Okay, because there's a couple of churches that are in Arkansas, and I think one of them is called the Crystal something, and it looks like a church, but it's all made out of windows.
Oh yeah,
the whole buildings.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There's several of them. There's one in Eureka, but there's not that one. There's another one too.
Oh, there's another one?
Yes, there's 3 of them actually that are not far from us, and because I was kind of obsessed with them at one point. But I think one of them is called the Crystal Temple or the Crystal something, and they're all completely made out of glass and beams.
So I've been to the one in Eureka Springs.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I've taken pictures of it and I've posted them and stuff on my Facebook. Huh? Something. Probably like this little wedding chapel or something. I don't know. Something chapel. Yeah.
I know our friend Angie was there.
She went to that place too?
Yeah.
The glass place?
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah.
That's awesome. A lot of playhouses across the country are deeply haunted. If you know some, you can name them. I can write them down. And her nails. That's funny.
So yeah, if I were to ask you to have a short story, like to give us an example, sort of what you do, like on your show? Do you have something you could say?
Um, so on my show, Bedtime Stories for the Undead, I go over a lot of I just go over a lot of the local legends here in Virginia, cryptids, Wendigo, dogmen, Native American vampires. Usually, last night I talked about the Shadmock. If you've ever seen the 1981 movie The Monster Club starring Vincent Price, in that movie there was a segment about the Shadmock, which is actually a Native American legend from here in Virginia. I went into that in detail and about the power of the Shadmock, which vampires suck, werewolves hunt, ghouls tear, Shadmocks whistle. And if they whistle and you're in its path, you're done. That's how
Yeah.
powerful a Shadmock is. My counterpart, Cemetery Joe, he's a horror movie host. You can catch him on Psycho Bunny Death Cult and Psycho Mania 13 at 11 p.m. Mondays and Fridays.
Mondays and Fridays.
And he'll be showing the most horrible or best horror movies. Usually, they're black and white movies. So.
Cemetery Joe is Mondays and Fridays.
Yep.
What
And
time?
11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
Yeah, the buck. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, got mixed up. But what I was going to ask is that how do you say that again? Shadmock? Is that what it is?
Shadmock.
Okay. Now it sounds sort of like a banshee in a way.
It's weird how the Powhatans pronounce it Shadmock, which there's an O in it, but I guess the British, when they made that movie, they made their own spelling up for it. Don't mean San Jose.
She said Sunnydale, and this girl Sandy, you mean San Jose because I live there on Blossom Hill. This was where the guy was killed. A chopping wood and his fiance went to meet him and he was dead before she got there because he bled to death and he likes to play with lots of the toys and bounce the balls at night. That would be so cool. I would lock myself in there and hide and pretend that I left and stay all night.
Yeah, I know where you're talking. I've been to the Winchester Mystery House a couple times out there, so I know what you're talking about.
That's
San Jose.
definitely on my list to go to.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's different. California's got a bunch of interesting spots,
Los Angeles and Hollywood.
Yeah,
have a lot.
sure.
Because of all of the recording artists and all of the actors and actresses and the drug use and the parties and all that stuff.
Right.
Murder, accidents, suicide.
Right. Or like the Omen House, with Sharon Tate. It's pretty interesting.
Someone's asking if your shows are on YouTube.
Yes, Joshua. If you go to YouTube and you type in Psycho Bunny Death Cult, it'll take you to the PBDC TV channel, and everything's on there.
That's cool.
So if you type in the whole words, though, type in the full name.
It's weird how it works. If you type in Psycho Bunny Death Cult on YouTube, it will take you to the PBDC TV channel with no Psycho Bunny Death Cult even on there. So
somebody at the Paracon this weekend was talking about the Psycho Bunny Death Cult. I can't remember who I was talking to about that. But,
I've told you about it about 40 times, but you never remember stuff that I tell you. I tell you stuff for 2 years and you don't remember.
What happened was they were asking me if I've heard about it, and I wasn't asking them. So,
we also got a new show. It's called Talking with Strangers. It's hosted by Kelly, and I'm going to co-host it. Tomorrow night at 10 Eastern Standard Time, we're interviewing Teal Gray from, I believe it's from Hill House.
Yeah.
Never met her, never talked to her, so this should be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I will say the coolest interview that I've done, at least on my show, about a month ago, had a chance to interview Sandy Johnson from Halloween, the original Halloween. She played Judith Myers, so Michael Myers' first victim. She's
Yep.
pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I need to go back and watch that one.
I got some friends that run an autograph company, and they met with her, and they were telling me kind of about the same thing. That she's cool. So
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, you were saying she was really nice. I feel like somebody else told me that she was really nice too. Maybe somebody on our show when we were talking with Ari Lehman and it got off on another subject and they were talking about her and saying that she was really nice. Because I know you weren't watching that night. Or you didn't comment or anything if you were.
because we talked about not just paranormal stuff, but horror, everything.
Right.
So, all of that.
He wrote Psycho Bunny Death Coat. He was going to look it down. It's the coat you're wearing.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that got me into the whole paranormal, just being fascinated with it, was when I was a kid going to school in Madison. I had a schoolmate that his family moved into a hotel. It used to be a hotel, and they made it into their home. And apparently, it was haunted. So the whole event made unsolved mysteries.
Wow.
And then it became like a staple of the whole town. Now, when they left the house, whatever it was, it followed them, and they invested all their money into this place. So they really didn't have a whole lot of places to go. So they had to come back to it, and so they had it wasn't a very pleasant time for them.
I'm almost finished.
That's interesting. Especially if you can't get away from it, So, it's definitely attachment with the family, not necessarily a location. It sounds like.
But that's what actually sparked my whole fascination with it. That and my wife, she's extremely sensitive to certain things. So her fascination became my fascination.
Right.
That's probably why she was fixated with Sylvia Browne and stuff too, I bet. I think that's one of the first authors that I read when I started doing this stuff was Sylvia Browne and then Eileen Garrett also. Tell her to check out Eileen Garrett. Like I can spell it or type it out or tell you how to spell it. Eileen Garrett is like the Lorraine Warren before Lorraine Warren was popular.
Write it down.
Yeah, really good book.
Some stuff.
Some cool books and stuff.
That's
I was
cool.
reading what she said.
I don't know anything about her, but yeah, that's cool.
The original Jason was awesome too.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah, Ari or the movie? Like, talk about Ari?
You say in real life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You found each other.
Yeah, well, I'm still breathing, so she must be happy. So today's our wedding anniversary. We've been together for about 20 years. So
Oh.
it's
Well, I hope you had a good anniversary.
Yeah. That's cool.
Before you came on our show.
Oh,
You
yeah,
spent
we did.
an hour and a half of it you spent with us. Thank you. We're
Appreciate it.
grateful and thankful.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Ari is pretty cool.
Sylvia has a unique voice and very in-your-face sense of humor. I can hear her voice when I read her books. That's cool. I like that because then you can actually, it like speaks life to you. Like you're actually, living through the person telling the words on the page.
Look at there. Look what Adam did.
You subscribe to your YouTube page, everyone.
We got a new subscriber. Awesome.
Yeah, go there. Joshua, you want to go there too.
Yeah. Everybody, go check it out. For sure. Yeah, happy anniversary for sure. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Typing in your Psycho Bunny Death Cool on YouTube.
So I'm going to have you both on my show. So in the future.
Yeah, I've been wondering because he had said something before, but I was like, maybe they just decided not to, or maybe they changed their mind.
Everybody's on vacation right now. That's what
Oh
it is.
yeah, yeah,
So
because I was kind of excited about it, especially when I looked them up and I saw them and I showed them to Jason. I was like, look, they're weirdos like me or us. So
oh,
weirdos like we are. I was like, this is so cool.
you can't be not weirdos and do this type of thing. No, in
Oh, that's true.
any of this.
Yeah, she showed it to me, and I was like, "That's interesting."
Yeah, that's all I said. That's interesting. And I was like, they're weirdos like us. Because sometimes he tells me that I'm
So
weird.
Cemetery Joe does have a sidekick. His name's Dave, and it's basically a skull head. So
Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
son named this. I brought this home from a Halloween shop, and I asked my son Dexter, "What do you want to name the skull?" And he goes, "Dave."
okay.
So, are you sure?
That's
And he goes, "Yep,
cute.
Dave."
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
that is pretty cute. I wonder he probably just made it up or he heard it on YouTube. How old are your kids?
It's hard telling where he heard it from. Some people think he heard it from a Cheech and Chong movie where they said "Dave's not here, man" or something like that.
It's hilarious. We had another guest on here like maybe 3 shows ago. They told us that they knew somebody named Chong. They had a friend named Chong or
Yeah.
Cheech. They called him that. Like I don't know if that was his real name, but
That's funny.
some congratulations on and someone said happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Josh said happy anniversary. I just saw Dave in your YouTube videos.
Yeah, he's
Adam's
always
pretty
there.
cool. Adam's pretty cool. I don't know if you like Rammstein, but Adam is like a huge Rammstein fan.
We love. I love Ramstein.
Yeah, he's a huge Rammstein fan. And
Yeah.
anything horror, and he has all of these different monsters and like paranormal cryptids on his arms tattooed.
Um, what I mean, I love Ramstein. My favorite band of all time is the Ramones. I'm a huge Ramones fan.
Oh my god, I love them.
Um, so
Yes. I like
That's
Rammstein, but I don't know as many of their songs as the Ramones. I love the Ramones. I probably know all of their songs. Or Rammstein, I probably know like an album, but I still like them. I'm just not like, oh my god, I love them. Because I don't know as much of their stuff, probably.
Okay,
Ramones,
so
thank you.
I'll ask you a question that is more interesting to me. But
Okay.
what's the deal with the Oklahoma jersey? Can I ask you?
Uh, honestly, I went in, I went into Goodwill one day and I told my son, "Hey, pick out a football jersey of all the." They had like maybe 150 there, right? So out of all the jerseys there, for some reason he gravitated toward that one, and it was
yeah.
gray like yours. And I said, "Okay, what you get, buddy?" He pulled it out and it said Oklahoma football on it,
Yeah.
athletics
Yeah.
division. And I said,
Oh.
"Is that the one you want to get, Daddy?" He goes, "Yeah, okay, let's go pay for it." And I've had it ever since. And every time I
It's
wear it,
pretty
for
cool.
some reason, good things seem to happen. So
So there you go.
it's like a lucky
Yeah.
jersey.
Because
Yeah.
Oklahoma's got that native charm. That's why.
Boomer
Yeah.
Center. For sure.
I mean, I'm not a huge sports fanatic, but I do like being from Oklahoma. I don't hate it here. I think it's okay.
I think it's okay.
We have a lot of paranormal stuff and Native American stuff. We have a lot of places to camp, horses, farms.
Oh.
What? I've seen the Ramones like 39 times in New York City, New Jersey. Josh, you're not my friend anymore.
So, Josh, so in 1986, I was in New York City with my dad, and he ended up taking me to a Ramones concert at CBGB's. That was our time. I also got to go to a Mets game, but that's how I found the Ramones. So it was an awesome time.
I heard
That's
him.
cool.
I
Yeah.
think the first time I ever paid attention to him is like, I don't know if you remember My So-Called Life
Yeah,
TV show when they played that on there because Jared Leto played their songs. He was a musician. Jared Leto, which was Jordan Catalano, played some of their songs, like a cover of
yeah.
them or whatever. And that was the first time I heard them. Like the KKK took my baby away, and I Want to Be Sedated was the first
He
one.
played. Yeah, he played. I want to see be sedated, and Claire
Yeah,
Danes' friend for some reason jumped in and
yeah,
was
and
like,
I loved
"Hey,"
that
yeah,
song, and I looked it up, and it was by the Ramones, and I just loved them ever since then. Yeah,
yeah. I remember that episode.
dude, that's hilarious. That's why
That's
I'll always like Jared Leto because of that.
yeah. He's okay.
We're not gonna. Okay, he might be good as Morbius. I still haven't made peace with his version of the Joker. So
Yeah, I was done with him after the Joker.
he's it's the Snyder cut. He redeemed himself a little bit after watching that for 4 hours.
Right.
A little bit, but
A little bit, but
Remind me, I have to show y'all something later. I'll show both of y'all. I got a
Okay.
really
Okay.
awesome. There was a comic book artist, and he drew this really awesome Joker piece of artwork, and I bought it, and he signed it, and it's amazing. I don't even really like. I like the Joker just because I feel like there's a little bit of one of the Jokers in all of us, like
Yes.
somewhere in our psyche. But he had all of the Jokers on there, and he just like, oh, it's okay. It's like pretend you're playing like poker, and all these cards are laying out, and all these Jokers are on the cards. All these different Jokers are on the cards, like the wild card or the Joker card. Yeah, it was awesome. I'll show it to you later. It's time for us to wrap everything up.
yeah, definitely.
It's easy when you start talking, you start having fun.
Yeah.
Well, make sure everybody knows where to find you.
Go to Psycho Bunny Death Cult, not Coat, but Psycho Bunny Death Cult and Psycho Manium 13. Give us a like. Check out our content artists. They put a lot into what they do, and they'd appreciate it.
I bet they do. Because this is the beginnings of them, like the intros and stuff. I'm like, man, because I know my intro took me forever.
Mhm.
Yeah, y'all have some pretty cool intros and stuff. But thank you for jumping in last minute. I really appreciate it. And you definitely
Thank you
have to
for
come
having
back on. We have to see your counterpart for sure. Because
Oh,
everyone would love
he'll definitely love to be on your show.
Maybe like
Cool.
August or September, you think?
Sure, definitely.
All right. Thank you for being on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Spectral Sailor is on here because of you guys. So, everyone have a good night. Keep it creepy.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.